Welcome, everyone, to Chirping Zebras, episode 64. Mark Riley alongside Geno Binda Jr. and our producer, Josh Dolan, coming to you from the interwebs out here in the world of Riverside. And we want to, before we get going, remind you to like and subscribe on the YouTube and also find us on all the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and, of course, the TikTok. Right, boys?
Right on.
So we want to thank AOA Studios, even though we're not there taping. Want to thank them for all their work they do with the podcast. And also thank our sponsor, the Referees Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. And guys, last week, Dave Gosher, play-by-play man for the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Just a great guy and really cool that his career kind of mirrored a lot of ours in the refereeing world.
Yes. What a great human being, great guy. Just listening to his voice, I just kept hearing him announce games on the radio. Sounds just the same. It was hilarious. Same with like Dale Arnold, right? Dale was a little different, but like every time he talked, it was like I was listening to the fucking radio and him announcing the Bruins.
I really wanted to ask him to do the Bergeron, and the Bruins win the series. I so wanted him to do it, but it's
the best. You can't reenact that call. It's one of the best calls of all time for Bruin history. Especially speaking of that, and leading into that, how about Toronto laying an egg up to rip and losing?
Are we surprised?
No. I loved every minute of it. I'm not gonna lie.
We all love it, dude. The whole league does.
Oh, it's so great to watch all that disappointment.
So Stephen A. Smith compared him to the Dallas Cowboys, right? So like on my stupid text chain with my football buddies, right? We bust my Joe, Fat Boy Joe. We bust his balls. Bob's brother, my college roommate, he was the best man at my wedding. So his brother, we've been in the league together for years and years. And, he's a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. So this meme went out with Bart Simpson, say the line. And it's like, it's our year. And then the whole class is fucking laughing at him, right? But it had a Dallas Cowboys hat on it, the meme that went through. So I kept that whole series, I kept blasting it out when I kept hovering the Toronto Maple Leaf thing over the hat. Say the line. It's our year. Nope.
I mean, how many times are you going to run it back and have the same result?
I mean, look at the Bruins. They're no fucking different. Well, I mean, actually, they fire the coach. They do this. They do that. So I guess they're a little different. But, it goes to show that formula, like Edmonton ran into it when they had all those draft picks. They brought all those young kids in. Oh, we're gonna build a team. They had no veteran leaders, right? Like when the Bruins won the cup, they had Recchi, they had Thornton, they had Chara, Bergeron. They had all these fucking like Bergeron was still young, kind of, right? But not really. I mean, he was still, but whatever. They didn't have that veteran leadership, and they were all individuals, showing up in the different limousines with their own agendas.
Yeah. Like they got the talent on the team, but like it just shows that like in hockey you can't buy your way to a Stanley Cup. Like if like Herb Brooks said, he wasn't looking for the best players, he was looking for the right players. And if they're not working, you gotta move on. That's why I got divorced,
Well, you know what? No, there you go. You check out Divorce Dad. Hey, check out Tom Reed and Divorce Dad Fitness. There you go.
Yeah. Shout out to
Rita.
Tom Reed. Yep, Divorce Dad Fitness.
He texted me today. He's got a big announcement coming out. Are we live?
No.
All right, so he's got a big announcement coming out, and it's I think he's making his own protein shake.
Really?
It's called Divorce Dad Fitness. Yeah.
Oh,
incredible.
Do you listen to Creed and Nickelback while you're drinking it?
Does it have alcohol in it?
I don't know, but this is either a nice ad for him. It's gonna fucking sing.
He's gonna have to sponsor the podcast.
Listen, go check out Tom Reed, Divorce Dad Fitness. He's great. We did a reel with him not too long ago. So he's out in the universe. Go check him out.
That's hilarious.
I just
Yeah,
wrote
he-
it down.
He actually got good. He's got some good advice.
Well, you get divorced, and you have to make yourself dateable. So he hit the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what he did, right? I mean, he changed a lot more. We
Yeah.
love Tom.
Yeah.
Tom's a huge fan of the show, and we're big fans of him. So
Actually, you know what? Like honestly, he even say it too, right? The first time I ever watched him work, it was in Worcester, and he was in the middle, and I don't think he took a stride. I went in the room. I go, dude, what the fuck was that? He's like, oh, he's like you, one of those kids that saw you the sizzle. I can do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, dude, I was like, I almost want to take those pumpkins off you and give them to somebody else. And from that point on, from the speech I gave him, and like I go, dude, if this is something you want to do, like this, you have to do X, Y, and Z. You gotta get in shape. You gotta skate. You gotta do this. You gotta get boom, boom, boom. And then remember, he popped in one of those, those camps we ran, and it was out of the blue too. I didn't even realize that I even made an impact on him.
Yep.
And, he was like, listen, this is a lot of merit to what we say and what we do, and how we don't just put anybody in fucking junior hockey. You got to earn it.
And he was always a great ref in the sense of judgment and whatnot. I always enjoyed working with him. So
Yeah, he works D1 women's for me. Yeah, he does a pretty good job.
And now he's gonna have a protein shake apparently. So
Now he's gonna be fit. He's not gonna be. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to, when that fitness email comes out, it'll be good.
he's like the unknown Chuck Norris. Maybe he'll come out with a fitness program and then dog food.
I love how we kind of wrote a little like script on a path on where we go, and like you mentioned divorce, and here we are.
I just derailed the whole thing.
I derailed it. I went on
We were talking about Dave Gosher, and all of a sudden now we're plugging Tom Reed and his protein shakes. Holy shit.
That's
Ghost-
shakes. This is completely off the agenda too. But do they do like performance enhancing testing on officials? Like, can you do steroids as a ref?
I don't know.
I
They
have
must
no
some,
comment.
well in the minors definitely not. But I bet you the NHL, I bet you they do all sorts of health testing.
I doubt it.
Something's going to be in the CBA. Who knows?
I bet they test for like recreational drugs.
I bet you they don't even do that.
Come to think of it,
Like, where they get test for weed? Like, I don't know. Like
Adderall didn't
Like-
miss a call.
well, yeah, I mean, a lot of those actually make you a little better. So
Yeah.
I had a
on
buddy.
that front.
I had a buddy told me, he was like, dude, your heart's gonna fucking stop if you pop any more shit in you. Like, it was like a Sunday. I was like on a 4 and 5 night, something like that, and it was the afternoon tilt. But then you realize that those guys are just as fucking tired as you are, right? Like, they're on a fucking skid too. So like the pace is everybody's in the same boat. Popping Sudafeds and fucking 5-hour energies and Americanos and all sorts of shit. Drive it in you.
Didn't one of the leagues, and I want to say it was the East Coast League, but one of them banned like Red Bull.
No,
And-
what the fuck was the drink? No, it was something.
It
wasn't Red-
Monster or one of those.
Yeah, it was
I
one.
don't
of
know.
them.
They banned one of the energy drinks because
No, you're
people
right.
were on the verge of heart attacks.
Mhm.
And that it's funny because
was it?
it could have been.
I'm a coffee drinker.
See, back in the day when I was reffing, I hadn't started drinking coffee.
Mm.
So I never did any like stimulant stuff. There wasn't energy drinks back then. I mean, there might have been, but they weren't prevalent like they are today, And so we didn't really do any of that. I mean, there were guys that drank coffees before the game, but it was just kind of something that, I didn't do. I mean, I did other things,
You didn't
drank
need
and maybe lifted a lot and ate a lot of chicken and rice and, maybe some, Deca or Parabolan or something like that. But it's interesting that, those kind of things are not good for athletes. They pump you up, but the heart does race.
Yeah, I used to take some like energy drink, and I'd be out there fucking buzzing, and then like you can't be high energy as a referee. You need to bring the energy down a little bit sometimes. So I just stuck to coffee. in a stretch, get a good warm up. Give him a good warm up, Denny, and get out there.
Maybe Tom can come up with a referee energy drink. And the Zebras, it could be the Chirping Zebras energy drink.
I think that's basically what he's doing. Like,
Yeah, it could be
I don't know.
all
He sent me,
natural.
he sent me the text with, some hot chick on it holding the protein thing.
How about a hot zebra?
That's that's a whole nother
Dude,
podcast.
check it out. This bro's nice.
And then you can get it tattooed on your other leg. Oh, look
there
at
it
her.
is.
Look at that, huh?
Yeah,
There you go,
no,
Tommy. Right? Free advertisement.
There it is.
I'd spot her at the gym. Yeah. So that's
Anyway, Dave Gosher was a great guy.
Sorry, Ghost.
transitions.
No, that Bergeron. You know what else I wanted to bring up but I didn't because I don't know. You just let him go. I'm not going to tell a story on top of his story. So I was like, you know what? Save it for the next podcast when we bring this up. So that whole fucking game, that Bergeron goal. So I lived in Southie, so there's an apartment complex across the street, right? And the windows are up. It's May. My daughter was
Now, wait a minute. Is it an apartment complex or is it the projects?
No, it was an apartment complex.
Okay. All right.
Legit,
Just
no, it wasn't
asking.
the projects. Nope. Great question coming from Southie. That was a really good question. It was legit apartment complex. You had a fucking They had a parking lot. They had a dumpster where when I had parties in high school, I'd throw all my beers in there, so there was nothing in my barrels. Yeah. So, so at any rate, that fucking game's going on, and I had I think I had DirecTV or whatever the fuck I had, but I was on the delay, right? So the kids downstairs, they're usually in, so every time a goal was scored, you hear the fucking whole house shake. So they went out for the bar. So they went out for the game, right? So this guy across the street kept fucking yelling every time the Bruins scored. So I'm like, I don't know, before when they tied it up, I'm like, hey buddy, I'm on a fucking delay over here. Will you keep it down? Like, what the fuck? Right? So
Again, that's salty.
yeah. And he goes, no, sorry, let go bees, right? We're yelling back and forth. And I had a newborn child. My daughter was just born, right? Cameron was just born. So every time the Bruins scored, I went out on the porch and I yelled and screamed and I came back in, right? Right. I wanted to tell this whole story, but it would have been lengthy, right? This feels right. So the fucking Bruins score, Bergeron scores, and I'm like, holy fuck, right? I was waiting for the screen. Hey, buddy, what the fuck? He goes, I waited for you. Oh, it's so fucking funny, man.
That's awesome.
We're going nuts.
Like a scene out of a sitcom.
Yeah.
And when you think about that game, that game was over, right? I mean, basically, it should have been over.
I showed my daughter that, the last 2 minutes, she's like, how the Bruins win.
Yeah. Yeah. And think of all the people that left.
Oh
Right.
my
Right?
God. I was there. There was empty sections. And then when they tied it up, the people scrambling to come back in was I was like, no, we don't want get
No,
out.
you left.
Feed it.
Sorry. You
Yeah.
left.
Game 7? You don't leave Game 7s.
No.
Game 7s are the best. The NHL had two great ones. This playoffs, a few of them, and Florida. That Florida Toronto Game 7. Florida, I think, kind of was too much for them, and the Florida Carolina game. As of taping this, there's only been one game played. That first game, and I think Carolina got away from their game. They tried to play Florida's game, heavy, a lot of hitting, but they're a small, fast team. They got to use their speed. When they used their speed, they scored a goal. Of course, it was a little bit too late, to make a full comeback because Florida's not Toronto. And
the point I wanted to make when Josh was going with the divorce thing, and with Toronto, in the talent they have, they also have to deal, even Boston, we deal with it a lot. Our sports teams deal with it. Is that fucking pressure? That's a real fucking thing, right? The pressure those guys have, oh fuck, here we go again. We're gonna blow it again. We're gonna, look at all the sports teams that do it, right? All the ones that shit on themselves constantly, right?
yeah. Have you watched the Red Sox, the documentary on Netflix?
I have. I haven't finished it. I got one episode left. I don't think I'm gonna go back to it, but it was good.
No, it was real good. And when they talk about 2003, that was just such a crushing, right? Aaron
Yeah.
fucking Boone,
Dude, I hate
you
that.
know,
Oh, yeah, right.
becomes the new Bucky fucking Dent. And
Yeah.
that was so crushing. And then they go down 3-0 in
Yep.
2004.
Oh, I checked out. I was in college then. Like that whole run was awesome. My 4 years in college, but like I was negative Nancy. I was like, they're fucking, and then they won that game, and I was like, yeah, they're still. I was like, they're not gonna win shit, and boom, they win another one. And then I'm like, fuck, I was like there was so many diehards like at my school, and but like Rhode Island, there's half Yankees, half Red Sox, right?
Which it shouldn't be. They're
Yeah,
not
right.
close enough to New York.
I would say more Red Sox fans than Yankees, but whatever. But yeah, it was. I was like the diehard Red Sox fans. I was giving shit to. I was like, you guys are wasting your fucking time. It's never gonna happen. Just remember that.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
that's the pressure that Toronto is under, and I think a
Exactly.
lot of it comes from like I guess like people like us who comment on that. Like it's sports talk radio, like Boston sports talk radio, that and like the newspapers. I always thought that like the players didn't pay attention to it until I started covering the Bruins for WEI, and then at the end of the season, I'll name him. Jimmy Hayes came up to me. He's like, "You're the only sports person, like sports writer, that I like." And he's like, "A lot of the guys like you here." And he was like, "But some of these guys, I would really like to fucking punch in the face." And he pointed at what we could edit his name out, but he pointed at Joe Haggerty, and he's like, "If I fucking see him out at a bar, there's gonna be some lumping going on." I was like, "Geez, this really gets to you guys, huh?"
He
Well, I mean,
approached. Yeah.
that's it's hard not to take it personally, but on the flip side, Joe and any other writer has a job to do, right? And sometimes that job entails being critical, you know. And one of our former guests, Don Koharski, dealt with that when he was on as a commentator on the TV and being honest about things. Some of the guys kind of got pissed at him.
Even Frazier, right?
Yep, Frazier was the same way. So, I mean,
But there's
you have a
also,
job
like,
to
healthy
do. But
balance. There's a healthy, but like I get it. Like Felger, you gotta have people angry, because when people are angry at you, that gets attention, which I found out very quickly on the radio. I was like, oh, this is what works. But there's like I think they're too negative at times where they don't need to be, where they like go it like chases some of these players out of the city because everybody listening, I don't know. But
Well, I look at it on the flip side too, right? And anything, I think it's down to leadership and coaching, right? Like Belichick understood that that's a part of being here, right? And yeah, we make fun of it, but he actually he fucking mastered the art of it. To be honest with you, they were in an AFC Championship game for fucking 8 straight years. It's fucking ridiculous. They had a shot at playing the Super Bowl every fucking year, and like you're telling me they weren't critical the years they didn't. Like some teams would never come back from losing an AFC Championship game. Some teams never
yeah,
get back there. Look at the fucking Jets; they fall apart. They're never back, right? So it's like it's good leadership, and it's how you manage that, right? Toronto can flip that and use it as fucking billboard material. That's what the Patriots did. Tom
yeah,
Brady was motivated by it, right? Some people, it's all in your like how
prove
you're,
them wrong.
yeah, your makeup, right? It's either is it you got to read something. Like for me, I'm a prove it wrong fucking type of person. But when my wife would send me when early on in my career, when like Twitter and all that kind of stuff was out there, like somebody would say something about me, and it's like, yeah, it was funny, but like it still was like, oh really? Like I don't suck that bad that someone had to really write it. You know what I mean? And then and then I was like, you know what? Like the way that made me feel, I was like, I'm never reading anything again. And never like there's referees that go on the in between periods and look at Twitter. I used to look at Twitter and the internet to see what the fuck people are talking about.
why?
And now they're
Why would
going
you do that?
now they're going in and watching the replays of their games because they got flow on their phones and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah, which is fine because now it's a part of the fucking game, right? Like if I had it, I'd probably do it, but I really love living with just the fucking call that I made live and the judgment I had at the time, right? And like, yeah, I'm not going to get them all right, but there's nothing I'm going to do now but just make myself pissed off for the rest of the game, right? It's all a mindset. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think certain personalities or people or athletes can thrive in this environment, and then there are others that just can't. You know, they're phenomenal players, and they come here and they become, you know, very mediocre because they get in their own head because they allow the media to get in their head. You know, I think one thing that makes it different is if someone's done it before. You know, like we had Cedric Maxwell on, right? Episode 62. And he's someone that's on the radio, and he was an NBA Finals MVP. Like if Max is sitting there and saying you should do this or you should do that, well, that carries more weight than someone like a Felder who's, you know, what has he done?
Well,
right?
look at Rice. Look at Rice right now with the Red Sox, right? Like they're giving him shit. He's one of the best hitters of all time, and you're not gonna take advice from him or like these fucking kids nowadays have no idea how to respect elders or just history of games or anything like that, like history of the sport, and they're just handed everything with a silver spoon. I don't know.
Well,
it's like
Max told that story. We actually put a reel out about it where Jason Tatum didn't really know, you know, how good of a player Max was until he watched the 30 for 30 on the Celtics and Lakers. And then he was like, holy shit, you know.
you were a madman, yeah.
You know, Andy Brickley talked about how some of the younger guys with the broadcasters, you know, Rob Ray in Buffalo, one of the guys said, oh, what did you even play? To Rob Ray, you know, like I would think those young players would want to know who was up in the booth and who was talking about them so that they could take it, you know, take what they say a little differently, you know, because if an NBA Finals MVP is calling me out, I should just shut up and listen.
Same with David Price. He should have thanked. The Red Sox should be thanking Eckersley for that fucking championship those guys won. Dennis Eckersley called that like loser out, and you know said, "Oh, you fucking talk about me. You know how hard I have to work." Yeah, I do. I lived it. I lived it with not all your fucking fancy shit, not all your fucking fancy planes, all your fucking money. I did it for the love of it. And you know what I got? I got the finger every night I went to the mound. People call it fucking, you know, Eckersley, you know, these guys aren't weathered. They're not battle tested. They're a bunch of prima donnas. Everybody gets a fucking trophy generation.
There it is. I was just gonna say, everyone gets a trophy. It was the downfall. It was the start. It was the impetus of the start of the impetus of the downfall of our society in competition. Because everyone gets a trophy. Everyone's entitled. Everyone thinks, you know, you can't criticize me. You can't, you know, give me anything that's going to give me, you know, make me uncomfortable. And it's like, you know.
But that's all part of it. That's part of being in competition, or like not just competition, but it's just like how you handle the negativity, I guess, because like in negativity, I think is louder than any positivity. Like you know, like when you're doing a show, you could be making a room of 500 people laugh, but you keep looking at like, why isn't that motherfucker laughing? What the hell is his problem?
I used to do that. I used to do that until Don Gavin, one of my heroes, pointed out there was a room like that, 400 people, and a table of 10 wasn't laughing. And I came off and I was pissed. And he was like, what's wrong? I go, table 10. They didn't laugh. And he's like, well, the other 39 tables did. Don't focus on the 10 that don't laugh. Focus on the 390 that were. And ever since then, it's like, yeah, why not focus on the positive, right? Yeah. Why not just tune out the negative? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's just their perspective. So if they tell you you're great or they tell you you suck, it really shouldn't make any difference to you.
Right, that's why
you should know who you are and be confident in yourself.
I always tell my wife that I don't give a flying fuck what anybody thinks about my supervisor that night, or you know, my boss, like the commissioner and the supervisor officials. If they're happy, I'm happy. If they have something to say, I'm gonna make adjustments.
Unless you're signing my check or you're banging me, I don't care what your opinion is.
There you go. Lessons right there. Fucking live by it.
Wait a minute, is
Right there.
that by someone or is that yours?
I don't know. Just came out of my mouth.
But yeah,
I like it. That should be on a T-shirt. We gotta get that on a T-shirt.
Mark that.
Chirping Zebras. If you're not signing my check and paying me, we don't give a fuck what you say. Oh my God, that's outstanding.
do it.
Oh man.
Call
Well,
that T-shirt guy now.
yeah, we got to get that T-shirt made. I'm getting my Sack Tap and Moose Tour T-shirts done for Alaska. So yeah, so that's for sure. Now we bring up one thing that just happened. And it just happened yesterday, and of course, when this airs, it'll be a week ago. Don Sweeney got extended for 2 years. Now, I don't know what your reaction was when you heard it. Mine was, what the fuck?
I'm a fan of Don Sweeney. I wore number 32 as a Terrier. I like him. I probably never say a negative word about him, but you know.
Do you trust him though? With this draft?
I trust them 100%. The Bruins have been one of the best teams in hockey for how long? Right? They're always, like Felger said it, oh, they're just a playoff team. They're not a championship team. They all they care about is playoffs. They were the number one fucking team going in with Montgomery. They were, you know, they were right there with fucking Cassidy. Then he goes and wins the fucking cup, right? So it's like, okay.
But Sweeney fired both of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, well, I don't
he
think...
fired both of them for the Montgomery thing. I don't understand, right? They didn't extend
I understand
him.
the Montgomery more than the Cassidy because Montgomery wasn't successful in the playoffs. I think that was his problem.
He had one fucking shot. He had one chance. Nobody wants to get somebody good and just fucking run with it and let them make mistakes and grow with your fucking program and then come out with a championship. Like how many fucking times is who the fucking Florida coach? How many fucking chances he had, right? He made all these fucking mistakes and finally figured it out how to win. Oh, I did it this way last time. That didn't fucking work. Now I'm going to do it this way with the group I got, and now I can fucking maybe be successful with it because I did it the wrong way the first time. You know, like Montgomery is having success with the shitty fucking St. Louis Blues team right now. And he has a 5-year deal with them. He got longevity. Watch that fucking team grow. They'll be a playoff team from here on out, and they'll be in the picture. And you know what? That's what the Bruins want. They need to they can't hire Marco Stone. They can't hire one of these fucking, hire a name, hire somebody that can just fucking come in here for the next 5 years and let them grow with the program. Like,
but I think you had that with Cassidy. I think Cassidy was such a good coach. And, you know, the guys like Jake DeBrusk, you know, couldn't handle the harshness of him, but he was successful.
I've been on the ice. I've reffed a lot of Cassidy's games, and he fucking wears you out, right? Like, wears you out. Like, at some point, you're going to tune him out. Like, he's good in spurts.
Not all players, though. Not all players.
Watch, he'll wear his welcome out in Vegas. Trust me. Like, it's... Maybe he's changed his tune.
Kind of do that?
Yeah.
Most, anyway?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at how many fucking teams.
Bowman coached how many teams?
Yeah, Laviolette. Like they, you know, look at all the teams. Like all these guys. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know,
he's another one. Like that's a good comparison to Cassidy. Torts.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Monty messed up that you know that
he trusted
series against
he
Florida.
trusted his captain. Right? Like he should have just said, Bergeron, you're not fucking playing and been a leader. But how do you tell Patrice Bergeron that they're not going to go and then you lose? And Bergeron said, I could have played. And then now you're second guessing that. So, you know, he fucking trusted his player. Right? And that's where I think he got fucked. And then, you know, the whole goalie thing. Right? Just fucking, they should have just did the goalie thing and just did it.
Now, it worked all year. Why wouldn't you continue to do it?
And just been
no one else has done it. I mean, I didn't like that at all.
No,
it's never happened before. Well, what the fuck? They were the best team in the league by doing it.
So
that means it worked.
And you have two. And you have two. Like you had the Andy Moog, Reggie Lemlin fucking combination. Like just, I don't know.
Well, if it didn't work, during the regular season, or if they had spurts where it was like a disaster, you'd say, okay. Or if one guy at the end, towards the end, was just lights out, but they were both like they
Well,
both went into that playoffs playing really well.
Yeah, it wasn't like Tuca and Timmy where like Tuca played because Timmy sucked or Timmy played because Tuca sucked. It was like
Right.
they were
like
both lights out.
even being a dad of a goalie, like you can't mess with the psyche. Like the goalies need to know ahead of time what the fuck they're doing, right? Like if you're gonna pull her, pull them. Like if you're gonna switch them, right? If you're gonna run them. Like let them know ahead of time so they can mentally prepare because it's 90% mental. It's ridiculous in athleticism.
Well, I think I really wish they had waited. It's almost like Marchand and Florida making the conference finals got the Bruins that first round pick, and they reacted to that and gave him the extension. But now he better hire the right coach. I mean, fuck, they've had how many coaches? Like
You have to make the right pick. You have to hire the right coach, right?
You have to make the right pick. I don't know if I trust him though in the draft. I mean, you look at his draft history, it's not that great. When you look at the first round picks that he's had since 2015, I mean, you look at 15, he took Zaboral, DeBrusque, and how the fuck?
Well, we
does
know
his
he
name?
fucked that up because he was on the
Seneshin.
job for like 30 minutes, and the plan that they had didn't work. They were going after Hannafin, and it didn't get executed.
Yeah, that's when that draft. I think they traded Luch and Dougie Hamilton, and I was like, what?
Well, they had 3 picks, and you had guys like Barzell, Thomas Shabbat, Erickson, Travis Konechny. They all went after those 3. Now, again, hindsight's 2020, right? And he has hit on a few. Charlie McAvoy, he hit on him in 2016. But they picked 14th, and they got McAvoy. Tage Thompson went 26th in that draft. I don't know how, and you can get into who you'd rather have, but Vakanainen in 2017 is the first round pick. I mean,
It's a cool name, though.
It is a cool name. I like
when they picked that, you're like, oh, they got a player. You didn't even have to watch them.
They can't even fit that on the jersey.
That's why they canned them.
It goes shoulder to shoulder, right? I don't know. I just hope that they, and of course, every draft now, no matter what the sport, usually after the 3rd or 4th pick, sometimes after the 2nd pick, it's a crapshoot, right? I mean, even in the NBA, you have guys that you're picking 9th, 10th, 11th, and you have no idea if they're going to be any good.
I worked in the American League for 9 years. 9 seasons I worked the American League, and I saw a lot of number 1 draft picks playing. A lot of number 1 draft picks. Like, especially in Providence.
Our point exactly.
There was one kid, I forget his kid. He was a small center. He was a good kid, but like, man, they whiffed on that. Like Hamill or something. I forget his name.
But like, remember all the hype behind Taylor Hall and Tyler Sagan? Like, it was like, who's going to be the number 1? And they're both kind of they're good players, but
they're a good addition.
6 players.
Oh, they're a good addition on any playoff team. You would want them out there. Like they're like a.
Apparently not on Peter Chiarelli's team because he traded both of them.
Right.
Right? To think we had Sagan, right? And he could have ended up playing with Taylor Hall. Because we ended up with him too.
Yeah.
Right?
But would we have ended up with him if we still had him?
Yeah, it's a legitimate question, I mean, there was reasons why we traded Sagan.
Yep.
I don't know if any of them are true, but there was a bunch of different theories.
Horton's wife thing and
floated out there, but who knows?
Yeah.
I remember when I was in the Coast League, Charlotte was actually affiliated with the Bruins.
Yeah,
They were their, East Coast affiliate. And there was a goalie, Evgeny Ryabchikov. I don't know if you remember that name. He was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
For
and
Toronto?
he played, no, for the Bruins. For the Bruins. And he played in Charlotte. They sent him down to Charlotte to play.
Yeah, the
And
goalies always played in the Coast League. Like their third best, fourth the best goalie always played or something. Like
He was fucking awful. He was terrible. He get lit up every game. And I was like, are you shitting me? This is our future, as a Bruins fan. And he was brutal. Brutal.
I
You gave him
remember
a double minor for sucking.
Well, I remember when he came down, I was like, oh, cool. I get to see this kid play. And then I saw him play, and I was like, Jesus, he belongs on a goddamn,
Brandon Holtby?
smash burger. He was Swiss cheese.
Brandon Holtby played
Oh,
in
yeah.
South Carolina, and then he played, then he was in Hershey. So, like,
Yeah, he worked his way up.
yeah, when I was in the minors, like, I remember one game in Hershey. Actually, the first time I ever worked in Hershey, he had a shutout, and he stood on his fucking head. And I was like, man, this kid's legit.
Yeah,
was
he
awesome.
I think he was one that kind of dominated or was the top guy in every level.
Yeah, he
when
won
he
it
got
for
to
South
the
Carolina.
NHL.
He basically won them the fucking Kelly Cup.
Kelly Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how it could go the other way too, because there's goalies like the what's his name? Tikkanen, Henrik Tikkanen for the Railers and Appleby. Like they're
Yeah.
NHL level goalies, but they're down in Worcester because I mean there's only so
Well,
many
they
spots.
but they want them playing. They don't want them. They'd rather have those goalies playing in the Coast League than backing up in the American League, right? Like all the young
you don't wanna
guys,
go get
all
cold.
their fourth or third prospects are all playing in the East Coast League.
Yeah,
For the most
I think
part.
that's what happened to Malcolm Subban with the Bruins. He was always up on the 9th floor with me eating M&Ms. Not
Yeah, I
down in
remember
the,
him. He struggled a bit.
Yeah, he wasn't quite as good as his brother.
And they had another brother, young defenseman, small. He was tiny, but he was legit. Like, yeah, he was very skillful. But I don't think he could have. Yeah, I don't think he could have hung up top with his size as a defenseman.
It's
I don't know if he ever made it or not.
I don't. I remember them having a brother. I don't remember kind of what happened.
He played in Utica for Trent Green.
Jordan Subban, I
Is
believe.
it Trent Green?
Jordan, yes, it was Jordan Subban.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good kid.
Well, and his brother PK is one of the best dressed on TV.
Yep.
I'd say the only one that
He's hilarious. I love him.
as a commentator is great.
Oh, he's awesome.
And I love his live reactions to things that they show now. But Henrik Lundqvist, he lights out every night with his suit.
Every time he's on, every time he starts talking, I tell my daughter, I'm like, pay attention to this guy. He's the best.
Yeah. He's just, he King Henry. He was just phenomenal. And now his 3-piece suits are right on the money,
And his hair.
Oh, God, what lettuce, right? He's got some great lettuce.
That's why I wear a hat.
I wear a hat because of my drive-in movie theater screen forehead, but gonna bring the hair down.
Well, they have products for both of those things. You know that. Well,
Yeah, I'm drinking.
maybe not
my
the
wife,
forehead.
my wife got me drinking some like a teaspoon of this, like these 2 bottles every day. And like, I don't know, is my hair getting thicker? Can you tell, or I just
Is it
need a
by
fucking
Tom
haircut?
Reed?
I don't know what the fuck it is, but it doesn't taste bad, and I just take a sip every morning. So
They got that special shampoo. You should try the shampoo.
No, she gave me some spray shit I got to spray on every day, but like I'm not a consistent person, so I haven't started it yet until I can think of a routine. Like every time I'm taking a shit, spray it. Like I don't know, I got to find the window. So
We gotta get one of those hair loss sponsor hymns. We gotta
Him or Spartan shampoo, I think, is the one where they say it regrows your hair.
Yeah, I'll do the shampoo. I don't want to take pills. I'll drink some shit, but
Drink some shit. What if you
I don't
pour the
understand.
stuff on your head?
I don't understand. Like, yeah,
Cut
I'm like
out the
fucking.
middleman.
I'll be like Kramer, smell like the Kevorkian.
No, you gotta wear garlic around you.
Yeah,
You have the
garlic, yeah.
kavorka, Jerry. You got the kavorka.
Look, that's it.
All the women want you. That's what happens.
That's
One
the
day,
garlic.
we have
That's one of the
health
best shows.
tips with Chirping Zebras. Outstanding. I don't have the hair problem, so I can't speak.
Yeah,
To
you got nice lettuce.
I got the lettuce.
My grandfather was a horseshoe head, so I'm screwed.
Okay. So one thing that's happened a good amount in this NHL playoffs is injuries with the officials.
Yeah.
And one of our good friends, Chris Rooney, had a nasty injury to his eye, and wrong place, wrong time. Really, just one of those freak accidents.
Yeah.
I mean, we can take a look at it while we talk about it, but you can see like the stick just
It
flies up.
flies
And-
up, and like he can feel it coming. Like, you see, like you just feel it. Like, and
Yep.
he knows, like he knew he was about to get hit with something, and he just like braced, and he was a second late from getting his hand up. But
Well, and two, like getting those hands up, it's just one of those things where the stick just flew up. Like it's
yeah,
not.
it is.
Well, most times when you get hit by a stick, it's it's one of those freak things, right?
Right.
But he was really lucky that he ended up getting 3 stitches inside and 10 on the outside. So 13 zips. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But luckily it missed his eye, because that thing was, if we take a look at the picture of his eye here, you can see it's dangerously close to his eye. And thank
Do you
God.
think that injury would have been better or worse with or without the visor?
I don't think the visor
I don't
really
think the visor.
had anything to do with it.
His
no.
helmet was already kind of coming up like this. So like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, his helmet was like, because when he threw his head back, his helmet came
Yeah.
up like that. Yeah.
but I think even with the visor,
Oh,
it
yeah.
would have went under. Like it wasn't like he got hit straight on, where the visor
The-
would have taken a lot of the
the-
blow. It went up underneath him.
The visor might have caused more damage, actually, to be honest with you. If it like caught up underneath, like it might have
Yeah.
changed
Oh,
the
yeah, it was
direction of
coming
the
up.
stick. But yeah, when he sent me that picture the next morning, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then like, every time, like I've been in rinks all week because like goalie skills, and my daughter's playing in the Town Cup. 3-0 in Weymouth, big matchup tonight. Let's go. Everyone's like, how's Rooney? I keep showing them the picture. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Yeah,
You know
everyone was
it's
texting
bad
me.
when 2 trainers are holding the towel on the eye. You need the double pressure. That's-
What-
When he skated off the ice, I was like, holy fuck, I hope he didn't lose his eyeball.
Yeah.
Like the way he was holding it and skating, I was like, holy shit. Like,
It's kind of what it looked like. It
You
kind
know?
of looked like he was going to have to share binoculars with John Carter. That was
yeah.
You looked like the defenseman there from the from Slapshot. The guy that
Oh, yeah.
hooks up with the Dolan twins there.
Billy,
Yeah, Billy.
right? Billy.
Yeah, Billy.
From, if I can read this correctly, Moose Jaw,
Yes,
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
from the fashion show, right?
yes. But when he gets high stick, man,
He got smoked.
oh.
Absolutely and positively smoked in that with that stick. And it just so lucky though that his eye didn't get hit.
What I saw, I
penalty
forget who
on
was,
the-
huh?
No penalty on the play.
I've seen referees call it.
High stick on. Yeah, I've called it in the summer.
Yeah, Sweeney's called it.
Oh.
Yeah, Sweeney's.
called it.
I've seen Ryan Sweeney call it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, I called it.
I might have called it once. I don't know.
a couple times.
Yeah.
Off the face off, some kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Gets
Yeah,
you
that's
with
when
the
I've
stick
seen him.
because he's being a dick, and it's like, see you later, kid. High stick.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do it during the regular season, but during the summer, fuck all day.
But you get the kid though.
Oh yeah. Well, that kid never took another face off either
Right.
that game. But yeah, so but one thing I wanted to bring up that I've noticed in these playoffs, the referees seem to be getting in the way a lot more, especially the linesmen. They just seem to be in the play more than usual. And I think it comes down to a couple things. With the referees, I think it's unnecessary movement. There's too much movement. And especially when they go up the sidewall. I mean, there was one point, there was a referee, and I don't want to say who it was because I can't remember if it was exactly him. But they ended up in the fucking neutral zone on the other side of the blue line with the puck in the zone. Like, because they just kept going up the wall, going up the wall.
I've done that.
You're not supposed to, though.
But if you get chased up the wall, there's nothing you can really. If you don't have a bump off, like you got to go.
But I think the
But it's
problem
very
is
rare.
they're starting to go before the puck's even there.
Right.
And they're locking themselves into it. I don't know. I've just noticed it a lot. It's kind of like for me when the puck's coming in the zone, and the referee really should be against the boards, a foot off the boards when it's on their side of the ice, so that when the play goes, typically it goes behind the net. So if you're on the boards, you can go right to the corner and keep everything in front of you. But the trend now is to be off the wall, almost to the dot, right? Out as far as the dot. And then they're almost forced to have to swing the net as opposed to having that option of going in the corner. And how many times do you see it? The puck goes behind the net, so does the ref, and it gets them on the other side of the net on the on the end wall.
Well, I like coming, like I teach that a little bit. If the play's coming down the wall, get off the wall. Right now you want to increase time and space, and you have to have the distance, right? If you don't have the distance, you're kind of fucked anyway, right? No matter if you're on the wall or not.
Well,
right?
if you're late, if you're late or not where you're supposed in front of the play enough in a 4-man system,
right,
you're kind of screwed no matter where you go, right?
And the reason being, right, is you can still get to the corner, you can still get behind the net, or you can stay right where the fuck you are, right? So like you got 3 options if you do it right, but you got to guess right. Right.
Yeah.
So like if the play's coming, it's going towards the net, and then you just drift into the corner, right? And then you follow it in.
But guys don't do that. That's the thing.
But if play's coming at you, right? If the play starts if the play's coming down the wall and then it's like still coming down the wall, like you can just get to the end wall and then either bump or you go behind the net. Like you could, or you take a step towards it. Like you find that window. Like,
yeah, I like being on the wall. I don't like them if the puck is on your side of the half of the ice, right?
What if they keep coming down and they crash right into the corner? Where do you go?
Well, you bump towards them. You just bump towards them.
It's the same thing.
And they go by.
I do the same. I do the same thing. Yeah.
Or you can bump like 2 feet one way or the other. You don't have to bail and start fucking skating forward behind the net.
I think the only difference for me is you get more time and space that way, and you get one extra option by
I think it puts you in the way. I think it puts you in the way. I think guys are too in the play and are causing problems. And we saw it last night in the Florida game.
Honestly, Riles, I don't think either way is wrong. I just think that.
But one way they don't get.
It's this. It's they don't move their feet one way or another. They just go there and then they expect it to be their space, right? Like you have to ebb and flow with how the game's going. So like if you do it like you do, right, and like I said, the play keeps coming down the fucking wall at you. What are your options? Your options either to bump, either keep going behind the net, right, and then bump, or you take a step towards them, towards the hash marks, and then you follow suit in, right? But like sometimes,
but isn't that less? You always do you still not believe less is more when it comes to movement on the goal line? Because more movement means more head movement.
Yeah, but the way I'm talking that has not much more movement. It just gives you options. Like I might not even have to fucking move.
My thing is and Frazier said it. Anytime a ref is standing next to the line on the trapezoid, they're in the wrong place. That's where play happens, right? That's where play happens, and it happens on the other side of the net. And if you're swinging the net into that space, you're basically putting yourself in play. And that's why I think you got to stay against the wall, get to the corner. I'm old school. I know I'm old school. And I know we vary on this. But when it comes to the linesmen, have you not seen the linesmen not at their blue lines more so than ever before?
I haven't.
In the zone?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't pay attention.
Right.
When when I watch the game, I'm watching the refs all the time. Like I can't watch linesmen, but yeah, I only notice linesmen. The same thing when I referee is when they fuck up or get in the way. Right. That's the only time I notice them is when they get hit with pucks or their face-offs suck. Like that's the only really time, right? Like I don't want to like I've worked with plenty of guys in D1 that are like itching for advice from me, and I'm like, dude, I'm doing my job one, and I go, I didn't fucking notice you. I go, I didn't see anything enough to be like, what the fuck, right? Maybe some like, some pointers like where to stand on the blue line or something, but I'm not really paying attention to that. I can't. But what
I think one of the problems I noticed is that in the in the 3-man system, that back linesman, right, needs to wait until everyone's out of the zone, right? That's their job because the ref's skating up the ice and he's leaving players behind him. In the 4-man, you don't necessarily have to do that as much because now there's another referee trailing the play, but but that doesn't mean they have to leave early, and it seems like they're leaving too early. And ending up, if the puck stalls in the neutral zone, now they're kind of stuck halfway between the red line and the blue line. And now they're not being able to get back to that blue line, or they're getting in the way.
It's a fine line, right? Like you got to find that window, and you got to find the speed too, right? Like, I don't really notice it in the NHL because you really don't see the linesmen sprinting too much up the wall, and I see like linesmen in like full of piss and vinegar, ready to hop up, like ready to fucking jump up super fast. And it's like, dude, you gotta slow down, be patient, wait, and go ebb and flow with the game, right? Like the play's in, you're checking, there's 2 guys back, but you're coming up, and then you're focused in, right? You check in, boom, you got 2 things, you got an eye in your pot, all that kind of shit, right? There's a couple of checkpoints you need to make, but you're not, boom, as soon as you're free, you're fucking flying up to your partner's line because it looks good and you're hustling. It's like, because you're doing that, and as soon as you're going 100 miles an hour that way, it's tough to transition 100 miles an hour to come back, right? So you got to find that speed, temperature, in the window.
I think, too, what you notice, and I saw it in college hockey at every level, and even in the NHL now, linesmen bumping off their line into the zone quite a bit when there's a play at the blue line. I don't think you saw that back in the day.
No, people had pride. Like people they put themselves in harm's way because they had so much pride. They're like, I'm not leaving my fucking blue line for nobody. It's like, well, you're an idiot.
Well, you can hold that line and still, when they're coming, bump outside.
Bobby
right?
Bernard was the best.
Bobby Bernard was
he was the best.
Fantastic at it.
Best, like holding, working that line. Go back and watch. Yeah.
Go back to the guys that we worked with in the Coast League, like the John O'Briens and the, in the Mark Hamlets, right? Yep. They weren't on the fucking hash mark as the puck was coming over the blue line ever. They were there and they held that line, and 99% of the time they didn't get hit.
Right.
Because they, I always say patience breeds confidence and courage, right? Patience breeds courage. They'd stay there. And by staying there, they gave themselves the best option to get out of the way, as opposed to bailing early, and then either being in the way of the dump in or being in the way of the play when it comes in. Josh, as someone who's never refereed or lined or officiated, what's your take on it? Do you notice this, or is it something that
I have been now because you and Geno talk about it? But I was actually gonna kind of say, like, I know where you're supposed to be on the ice for every position, especially defense, because I played defense my whole life, and I never thought about positioning for a ref. I kind of just thought you just went wherever you felt that you could see the play the best. But ever since you guys started talking about it, like at the Coast games that I go to, like I've been trying to pay attention. And I don't really get it yet. Like it's just
they're making a lot of mistakes too, right? Like I remember working the Coast League, and I'd be in the locker room for like 45 minutes after it would supervise.
But like where did how you're saying that it's changed? Like you never used to see what's causing the change in behavior? Is it like Geno, you said that you try and teach like a few different techniques, but like is it coming from the top? Is it like they're just
it's coming from what worked for me from my past experiences from different supervisors I work with. Like I take a little bit from everybody. And then nowadays, like you got some type of, you know, systems that people like to use or whatever, like or just like movements. Now it's like, the
but is that
lines.
all like word of mouth? Like you're just learning from because if I
Well,
didn't
like,
know you guys, I would know nothing about positioning of ref.
well, yeah, kind of word of mouth, but like I sit in meetings with like, like Brian Murphy from the like yeah, word of mouth. Like I pick their brains, right? Like I don't just say, hey, what's up? Sometimes like I'll sit and like ask a million fucking questions because I learn every time I'm around all those guys. Like Paul Stewart, like I'll sit in the rink with him in Marlboro and like just we'd be watching somebody and he'd be like, hey, what do you think about that? Or boom, 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 boom. Like one of the best things I did last year was sit and watch a game with Kevin Collins, right? Like they see the game totally fucking different, but yeah, it's
Now, I think, for me, it seems like they want more movement. They want referees moving,
well, the game's
and
fast now. It's
I
all
don't
fast.
think it's all it. But I don't know. I know it's fast. I know they're bigger, but it seems like they want the refs constantly moving. And back in the day, in the old, when I learned, right, from Van Hellemon and those guys, you know, uh, less movement did a couple things. One, it made your presence better, right? It showed more confidence. If you didn't look like you were afraid of getting in the way, right? You also didn't let players behind you. You also only went behind the net if it was the last, ditch effort that you had to, do. You never went behind the net. It was just something that they taught. And now it seems like it's just move wherever you need to move and don't stop moving. And I just know, basic physiology tells you when you're moving your body, you're moving your head. And when you're moving your head, you're going to change your sight lines. And not only are you going to change your sight lines, you're going to change them as often as you're moving, right?
Right.
So when your head moves more, your sight lines change more. Whereas if you're more stationary and then you're in the corner or back away from the play, you have the whole play in front of you, right? And that's the way I learned, and that's what makes sense to me logically. If my head's not moving, I'm seeing more. If my head's constantly moving, my field of vision is constantly changing,
You want to be
and
watching
because the
play,
game
not
is
being
so
on it.
fast, yeah, I'm gonna miss more. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just my
Yeah,
take
so
on it.
I've been trying to like pay attention to that kind of stuff because I kind of, and especially being involved with this podcast now, I was like I should try and ref a game next season. like
Oh,
a
you
Get
should.
certified, dude. Get certified.
You get
I
certified, and
want
then,
to. I want to. I'm trying to study.
what we'll do.
You don't need to.
Gino and I can go on the lines. We'll put you in the middle and let you actually referee a game. See what happens.
That
I
would
mean,
be
how bad
great.
can it get? You'll probably
right.
you'll probably be as good, if not better than, 50% of the people doing it right now. Right?
But like
True,
all
fact.
last year, I was kind of like paying attention to the refs, and I was like, I don't know if I could do it. But I within the past few months, I've been like, I'm gonna try and ref a game, even if it's 3-year-olds.
You
Gotta
should.
have 'em.
We got to get you certified. That's it. Josh is getting certified so we can be a zebra.
Let's do it.
Right?
I'm all in.
Awesome. Well, the last thing I want to bring up, we've talked a lot about fighting on this podcast, and fighting in hockey, and how we all think it has a place. It serves a purpose. When done right, it can, change the momentum of a game. Hockey is full of emotion, and those emotions boil over sometimes. Case in point, game one, Toronto.
Sorry, Toronto's in bed. Big golf.
Carolina and I know, right? Carolina and Florida, Gostisbehere and Marchand, right? They got into it a little bit, and then Gostisbehere snaps the puck at Marchand, clearly on purpose, right? That pissed Marchand off. They get into it, and they have a little scrap. Wasn't much of a fight as much as it was kind of a, grab
Gave him
and
a
pull
licking.
down.
They didn't even call it a
Different
fight.
kind of licking.
No, they called double minor on Marchand and 2 on Gostisbehere. But I think it's a good example of when your emotions boil over.
Yeah.
You know, like something happens, you're already a little pissed off, and then a guy shoots the puck at you, Marchand, and again, Marchand might not be the best example because he tends to be a little emotional, but you know, you snap. And if Marchand's not allowed to go after him and have that scrap, well, that can carry forward, right?
I think it's
So, I think I hope it is because
every series has that like fucking moment, that game changer moment, and it's always around that fucker.
Yeah. Well, I think this series is going to be full of hate,
Yep.
right?
Obama called him the little ball of hate.
He's the ball of hate, right? But on episode, I believe 53, we had professional boxer Danny O'Connor on, and we showed him 4 different fights, some classics. Terry O'Reilly. We had a Stan Jonathan in there. We had Dougie Smith, another former guest and friend of the show. And Danny broke him down from a professional boxer's standpoint, which I thought was kind of unique. You know, because boxing and hockey fighting, very different.
Yes.
In the sense that, you know, they're not the same, even though you're punching each other and you're trying to beat the bag out of each other. So he broke down these fights, and we didn't play it on that episode. We figured we'd save it for kind of a special moment, and we feel this is...
It was a long-winded episode.
Well, that episode was pretty long, as most of ours are.
Yeah.
You know, but
We had a lot of farm animals to get to.
Hey, you know what? There's a lot of meat on these bones, okay? When we serve dinner, it's a full course meal, right?
Exactly.
Well,
I don't know if that's a good analogy, but
well, it was great because that was a lot of takeaways from that episode.
yeah. So we're gonna check this out. This is Danny O'Connor from episode 53, breaking down some hockey fights. So let's check this out. And speaking of hockey fighting, I think you know, we wanted to try this. I think you know, want to get your take as a boxer on some hockey fights. And I mentioned him earlier, Dougie Smith, the Goon. He was a boxer that became a hockey player. You know, taught himself how to skate. His story is fascinating. I think you actually have one of his fights to pull up. But you know, I thought maybe if we watch a couple of hockey fights together and kind of talk through them, you can give us your take on what you think, you know, and how they did. So the first one, Gino, what's the first one?
First one I sent.
The Joel the montage. Reckless, yeah.
Oh, you gotta like cut and paste. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta. If
I mean, this is 8 minutes long. I mean, this thing is.
No. You have a Terry O'Reilly, right? Why don't we watch the Terry O'Reilly?
I mean, this Joel Reckledge one is awesome, but then like.
Okay, I got the Joel one. I got that one.
All right.
So, like,
I got them all.
So the first 3 fights, it's all in the same game, and then he fights in the NHL. I think after that on this one particular clip, but that was my.
Let's watch a minute. Let's watch a minute of it or two.
Of which one are we watching, Joel?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll watch the Joel Reckledge. Well, you know, we don't have to watch the whole video.
Okay, but it's the one where he's number 19, right?
19, yeah. So let's.
Okay. So like even. So even like it's just so funny because they're sizing each other up, you know what I mean? But you got to do it on skates, so like you don't want to get too close to them because if you get in that range, you might get socked in your face.
It's Dr. Bob.
Gino, is that you, number 22, right there?
I'm 22. Yeah, I'm like, you guys gonna fight a dance? Let's go. Let's go.
That was definitely a Southie. Either fight or get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not doing this because like what I do as a referee, like I'm not really watching the waltz. I'm watching the. I'm getting everybody to the benches. I'm spreading everybody out just so no one else starts fighting. So I'm not really paying attention. I don't really get to watch too many fights, but you know this one I could because it was like a main event. You know, circle at center ice. Now the linesmen are trying to get in here, and he's saying no, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
And then they go and they start. You know, they want to get their arms loose. And Lasad's not letting them. And now they just start throwing once they get loose. It's a marathon fight.
So,
Yeah.
so Danny, what like
he's telling
watching
him no.
this?
He's telling
What's
no.
what do you compare it to boxing?
So now they're going at it. Dude.
Yeah, now they go like they.
So listen,
It's an awesome fight.
so
It's unreal.
So I'm gonna pause it for a second so I can talk about that one. So listen,
Yeah.
this is the way I look at that. Like if that was a boxing match, everybody in the fans would be booing and the ref would be breaking it apart because that's what happens. Like they come too close, they lose their range, they lose their distance, they lose their power, and now they're just holding each other, right? So you saw at the end of the fight, when they just take a couple steps back, now they can start landing those punches at range, and that's what they're doing. But it's a whole different style. Like in boxing, you can't really hold people. Like you're always going to get broken up. Here, they're trying to hold you on one sleeve and hit you on the other. The only thing is like, the only thing I would say about that fight is like they're always coming from the outside. How come nobody comes from the middle and up? Because this is like, those uppercuts could be pretty. Uppercuts a dangerous punch. Like no matter where you are on the street, in the ring, on the ice, and so like. They're always coming this way in that fight instead of just coming this way. And listen, you ever seen the Bruce Lee? Like you don't gotta go that far. That's all you have to do. If you just go a little bit to get some space so that you can come over the other side, that's all you need. And that's why I think a little bit of technique and intelligence to learn when it comes to the art of fighting, you transition that into the ice. I mean, you could be pretty dangerous because they know, like you saw them at the beginning, they're sizing each other up, but they don't want to get too close because then they might get grabbed. So they're like trying to navigate skating sideways and skating away. But the only thing is, then it's like, who could punch them faster? Because they're both holding on the same side and punching each other with no defense. It's kind of like who's going to knock them out first, I think, before they end up going to the ground. And then once they go to the ground, that's over, right? They're gonna break it. Yeah,
they break it up as soon as someone falls.
Dude, I would say, in from watching that hockey fight right there and seeing a couple other ones, a little bit of distance will be your friend if you're on the ice and you're going to fight someone. If you can land those punches at high range before they get to grab you up, that will, you'll do more damage.
So and now let's take a look at Dougie Smith from the AHL. This is it's funny because this is the Frank Bialowas fight. Dougie talked at length about Frank, and he was like the man and the fighter that when Dougie came up, he had to fight him. It was that was the guy. I believe they called him Frank the Tank, didn't they? And if they didn't, then that's just something that makes sense in my head.
All right, hold on. Let me see which one is that one.
So this is Frank Bialowas versus Doug Smith.
Okay, hold on.
And Frank
how good I am with technology is going to take this.
That's all right. That's all right. And of course,
okay, Frank, I got it. Against Doug Smith?
Perfect. Doug Smith, yeah. So let's play this one and see what kind of. This is a major heavyweight battle for sure. This starts with them coming out, and I believe Doug talked about him talking to Frank about it, like, hey, you're going to give me one. And of course, Frank was a willing participant in this fight.
And like 2 years before this, he didn't even know how to skate, right?
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Yes,
that's what's really wild.
See, he just went right in for the grab. He wasn't even trying to close the distance with punches. He went right in for the grab.
And this is just a absolute brawl.
Yeah.
And Dougie's a big guy. I can't imagine getting punched by him.
No.
And I mean, it can't feel good to punch someone in the helmet, especially when you're dropping your gloves. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's and what's funny about you say that, and a lot of people, like with the visors now, everyone wears the visors. Only a few players left that are grandfathered in.
And that's what I'm saying. If you have one of those nice uppercuts, like Mortal Kombat style, you could get underneath it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I wonder why they don't let them take the helmets off. Like if you take your helmet off, Geno, that's a penalty, right? If you take your helmet off before a fight.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, I think it's a 2-minute minor.
Josh, go ahead. I didn't mean.
I started over. I'm watching it from the beginning.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say Doug Smith actually used to work for the Bruins organization. I'm sure you know that, and he used to like coach guys like Kevin Miller and like McQuaid on fighting, and he said that's what he was always trying to get them to remember was uppercuts are going to be way more effective. Yeah. And I think that's why you see guys like Kevin Miller and McQuaid, why they were so good, because they were listening to Doug.
So what I will say about this fight, it's just coming from like a boxing background, and I've reversed it a couple times here to watch it. Like if life on the farm is mayhem. It sounds like someone getting smoked there. Okay, so listen, coming from a point of view where like I understand range and distance for fighting. Okay, guy in the blue, guy in the white. Guy in the blue, as soon as he jumps in all aggressive with two hands out trying to grab me, he's going to sleep. He's not even going to reach me to grab me because I understand range, I understand distance, and if you don't close the distance with a punch and trying to punch, you're just going to get countered. And right, so like guy in the white didn't understand what a counter punch is. He kind of just got wrapped up and now they're fighting. And then once blue guy gets in, he enforces his will. He can grab more. But like, that's a perfect example. That dude literally jumped in with his hands out trying to grab. And again, like uppercut all day.
Now, one of the guys that we wanted to take a look at, former guest of ours, Terry O'Reilly. And you had a Terry O'Reilly jersey on coming out for a fight.
When I fought he's one of Ken Case's favorite hockey players. And so when I fought my very first fight with Ken Casey under the Murphy's promotion was at House of Blues. And it was like around Patty's Day or something. And so I wore his number, but it had my name on the back, but it was a green Irish themed Boston Bruins jersey. And I keep all my stuff, like all my uniforms I've ever had, my all my jerseys, everything. I got a whole collection of everything. So, like, again, it's all about the experience. I remember that one from that time, from that fight I have, so it's meaningful to me.
That's awesome. Well, and O'Reilly was just a master. He was feared by everyone. I mean, there was a reason why they called him Taz, the Tasmanian Devil. Yeah. So this is a fight between O'Reilly and Brian Maxwell, and this is let's take a look at this one. I always love watching Terry O'Reilly fights, especially the Dave Schultz ones, and when he starts, man, he just throws, and he's a lefty. So how hard is it to fight a lefty?
Yeah, I'm a lefty. It's difficult. It's not difficult because like the angles come in a different way, right? The angles come in a different way. So it's just you're not really used to see it coming, especially if you're used to fighting righties all the time, which normal people are. So when you fight a lefty, the punches come a little bit different, and that's what it is. Because a lot of fighting has to do with the angles and the angle you're at when the punches come in. So that's what like the theory behind fighting a lefty is more difficult. But you could tell this guy's an animal, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as he wraps up, he's just throwing everything and anything as long as his arm is. And he actually even ducked a punch right there. Right. So he was thinking about defense, too.
Yeah, no, Terry was he was a great fighter. Now, as a lefty, when you box a lefty or fight a lefty, I guess it's like a righty fighting a righty, right?
It's a righty fighting a righty, but there's not a lot of lefties, so now it's a little bit weird because you haven't fought a lefty really ever. So it is like a righty fighting a righty, but righties fight righties all the time. Lefties, there's not a ton of us. I'm not even a lefty. That's just how I learned how to fight, and that's how I've always fought. So for that same exact reason, that guy Pablo Miyagi. Hey, lefties are better. Let's do this. All right, let's do this.
Pablo Miyagi.
Pablo, he's the best.
That should be on a shirt, man. Pablo
He
Miyagi.
was the best, man. He was amazing.
I might change my stage name to that. Pablo Miyagi coming to the stage. Well, this last one is Stan Jonathan. And Stan Jonathan was just an absolute beast. Again, not a very big guy in the sense of stature, but just an absolute powerhouse. Many people said back in the day he was like a fire hydrant. You couldn't knock him over. And he's fighting Pierre Bouchard, who's also, he could throw him too for the Canadians. And so we can take a look at this one and see how Stan Jonathan fights. And this, again, right off the face-off, you got to love it. He's on the ice.
And then the whistle, and then they bump.
Oh, a little elbow.
Yeah. And here they go.
And he splits them open like I love when he starts throwing. Like, speaking of lefties and righties, like he throws rights and then he switches.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He switched right there, and that's what put him down.
Smokes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
It could take a punch for sure.
Is that all blood on the ice? Oh yeah,
He's leaking big time.
Opens him up and he switches hands. It's awesome.
And then John Winstink jumps in and chokes someone out.
Yeah, well, look at that line, right?
Oh God.
Winstink
O'Reilly, Jonathan. You kidding me?
Yeah. You wonder why they were called the Big Bad Bruins, right?
Yeah.
They play in Montreal, of course, right?
It reminds me of. It reminds me of bare knuckles so much because, like you're grabbing with one hand, trying to wrap them up while you can just try to sneak as many in as you can. You know what I mean? If it would make all sense to me that if you were a sniper like I am in the ring, where there is no wasted movement whatsoever, the only shot that I commit to is the one that I know is coming across your chin, right? I'm accurate and I'm a sniper. You would go far in this because you could line your stuff up. You could time your stuff the right way. But I don't know that that's how hockey fights really are. From those four that I just watched, it seems like they're kind of just trying to engage as fast as they can and try to, best man win. Like we're all just going to throw everything we got in the shortest time, and it's either going to go on the ground or someone's going to win. You know what I mean?
With Jonathan switching from right to left, have you ever experienced that in boxing where someone just switches in the middle of a round?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. You got someone like Andre Durrell. He was an Olympian the year before, 4 years before me. Like he could fight both ways. They call him the Matrix. He could fight lefty and righty. So Marvin Hagler, he was known for switching back and forth. So like you have. It's like anything. If you learn to drive this one way, that might be how you learn to drive. Some of these fighters, they learn lefty and righty at the same time, so that as they're progressing, they're building those foundation, they're getting used to everything, they can fight both ways. So it happens all the time. I mean, people train both, especially now.
Super cool perspectives, right? From a pro boxer.
Yeah, right. He's interesting cat.
Into the science of it.
Well, yeah, and breaking down just, the differences and how hockey players approach a fight as opposed to how he would approach the fight.
Right.
And what he would do to try to, get the better of his opponent. It's just really cool in that, it's a perspective from a fighter looking at fights that happen in a completely different environment.
Yeah.
So
I went to a fight and the hockey game broke out.
Gotta love it. I may have a little bit of an announcement probably next week regarding hockey fights and a little something I'm involved with. And actually Danny brought up the Bare Knuckle Fighting League in his episode, and I might be involved with something that might have to do with that and hockey at the same time. So I'll save that for next week.
Nice.
Big announcement.
Have you joined a slap fight league?
No, but I've been known to have pillow fights.
Can you imagine Riles getting like in one of those slap fights with like one of those like 300-pounders? Like it's like the hand just swallows his head, and you just see like it's like, what are you doing? Like you see those skinny guys like biting the fucking thing. Like go ahead. It's like what?
I don't like a sport where they have to have people behind you to catch you because you know you're going to be.
But although I have been involved in a couple of slap bets and been cracked a couple of times, and also cracked a few people.
Well, we've all slapped a few people.
That's another fat boy fucking league.
But that was at Sullivan's Half. That's different.
I would not. The only person I'd slap fight is maybe I don't know, Victoria's Secret's model, $120. You know, and I wouldn't even hit her. I just let her hit me.
I guess I did that. What I just described to you. I did that to the two biggest fucking guys in the league. It was remember the kid that wore the my face on the shirt for the draft. Yeah. So like that kid, I bet when he slapped me in Vegas at Top Golf, right? So you play each other and you make stupid side things, right? And long time ago, his brother goes, "Hey, how about a slap bet?" And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "All right." And I won, and I made like that whole summer like torturous for him, like right up until the draft, until we did it. Like I was sending videos, like I'm gonna knock you out.
It's like that tortilla challenge on the TikTok where they smack each other with a tortilla.
So stupid, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I'm not making another one of those bets because the last time I fucking tried to knock him out and I got him pretty good, so I got one coming. So I'm not doing it. I'm not accepting another bet.
All right.
I got kids. Until my kids are older.
Yeah. You want to be able to get up in the morning. That's
exactly
the thing, right. Maybe next time we're live, we can have we'll do the tortilla challenge.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm gonna go up and have some chips and salsa.
Your face when I said that was perfect. You were like, "Yeah, fuck you." How about I just slap you?
No, I was just thinking about that.
Oh man. Well, I think we'll end there.
Yeah, perfect.
With slap fights and
send us your tortilla challenge fights or slap fight videos. Maybe I'll dig them up and show them.
You know what? Maybe we'll do it on the ice.
There you go.
Tortilla slap on the ice.
There you go.
Hosted by John.
You know what we'll do? We'll freeze them. We'll freeze the tortillas.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
That might be better.
Might be better.
Watch. Next week on TikTok, there's going to be assholes with frozen tortillas smacking each other.
And sack tack and moose.
Oh, sack tap a moose tour, Alaska.
Dude, you should.
In the area.
You gotta ship out 100 of those fucking t-shirts and sell them up there. They would go.
Oh no, I'm bringing a bunch. We got Cyrus 11, Chris McMullen, our merch guy he's designing a t-shirt as we speak.
Yeah,
with the moose on the back.
We're gonna make a killing up there.
We're gonna and I still wish you were gonna be with me. Both of you. But I understand.
I got too much shit going on this summer.
I understand. I understand why. But July 12th, Eagle River, Alaska, at Odd Man Rush Brewing. If you're in the area, you should come to my show. And that's what you should do.
I'll be in Park City, Utah.
Oh, all right. Well, and Josh, you'll be.
I'll be in Fall River.
I'll be yelling. I'll be yelling at referees in a U9 and a U10 fucking tournament.
You will.
Yes.
And you don't assign out there, so you could be in trouble.
No,
this could be the game you get tossed.
Actually, I wasn't on the bench. I'm not on the bench for this tournament. It was the Junior Bruins, but I got sucked into coaching one game because one of the coaches couldn't make it. So,
are you on the bench for Utah?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the bench tonight for the big Weymouth Hanover matchup, though.
Oh.
10 girls Town Cup, undefeated versus undefeated. Let's go.
Who's reffing the game?
I don't know. We don't assign it, so. But
really,
a bunch of our guys have been down there though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Aldo lost that years ago. Yeah.
As he should have.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully their positioning is on point.
Yeah.
And Aldo has no positioning. His position's at the red line.
And then last night he comes walking in after the Town Cup's over doing the men's league.
Aldo, they call him traffic cone for a reason.
Actually, his son Aldo just got married. So him and his wife Jenny had a great ceremony last weekend down in some farm. I forget the name of the farm. I'm sorry, but it was a great farm down in Connecticut. We all stayed at Foxwoods. Reconnected with a couple of cousins I haven't seen in years. So if you guys are listening, fucking great time. Great seeing you guys. And yeah, congratulations to Aldo and Jenny.
Awesome. Man. Very cool. All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 64. The Commodore 64 episode. I forgot to mention. One of the first computers that came out, the Commodore 64. You used to plug it into your TV, and it pretty much didn't do anything. I used to just have it scroll, like this is bullshit on my screen or something stupid. Pretty much all I could do with it.
And you had one?
Oh, of course I did.
Was
and
it like
retailed
$2,000?
When it first came out, it was like $495, and it was a keyboard that went onto your computer, and you basically couldn't do shit. It came with a joystick because it had some really bad games. I think it had 64 kilobytes of memory, which, if you know what computers are and memory and stuff, that's ridiculous.
Those that sneeze.
Geno's allergic to tech talk.
My fucking allergies might be puke.
My allergies. I hate it here. Make me puke. Sorry, slapshot flashback. Anyway, Commodore 64. If you remember it, if you know, you know. So we want to thank our sponsor, the Referee's Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. I want to thank AOA Studios for all the work they do, editing and taping our wonderful show here. I want to make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Find us also on the social medias, the Instagram, the Facebook, and of course, the TikTok. Also find me as a comedian out there, markrileycomedy.com, and find me out there and come to a show. And that's going to do it for episode 64. For Geno Binda Jr., for Josh Dolan, I'm Mark Riley. We'll see you next time right here on Chirping Zebras.